It's also amazing to think that Thomas Jefferson designed the academical village to be a didactic landscape, but we can still all appreciate the beauty of that space, even if you don't know what the classical orders of the architecture are. Everyone can walk through that space and appreciate it. Some of our colleagues at Facilities Management kind of jokingly call their work as the Department of First Impressions. A lot of people come here and they can appreciate the beauty, and it really makes it a welcoming space for people when it's so lush and inviting.
A fun fact that I didn't realize many people didn't know is that Thomas Jefferson was an architect, among other things. But in the architecture school at the University of Virginia, also known as the A School, it was instilled in us from the moment we walked through those orientation doors. Thomas Jefferson has a very distinct architectural vision, and you can spot it immediately when walking around central grounds. The classic bright red brick contrasted by starkly white Corinthian columns is just the start. Jefferson was deeply influenced by classical Roman and Palladian architecture, which he admired for its symmetry, balance, and harmony. He designed buildings like Monticello and the Rotunda to embody these ideals, blending practicality with beauty. He loved domes, porticos, and temple-like facades, and he always saw architecture as a teaching tool, a way to inspire civic virtue and intellectual curiosity. My name is Delonda Jello. I'm a fourth-year student in the School of Architecture here at the University of Virginia. So this is an incredibly familiar area for me. Architecture is one of those things that you wake up one day to love. It changes how you view the world. Jefferson's architectural notes are especially prevalent on the lawn. Go there, walk around, look at the columns, study each of the pavilions because they each have their own quirks, their own personalities. Jefferson intentionally gave each pavilion a different classical order, like a living catalog of architectural styles, so students can learn just by being surrounded by them. Then, of course, step into the dome room of the Rotunda, Jefferson's centerpiece, where he tried to capture the spirit of the Pantheon in Rome, scaled down for a more democratic campus. Architecture is what makes UVA beautiful, and the more you look around, the more you learn to appreciate it, especially during a transformative time like this when the leaves start to change color and drop. In today's Pilot Projects episode, we get to talk to a couple of peers of mine in the A School, as well as a landscape architect who are working to keep the spaces around grounds beautiful. Sarah had the honor of interviewing the landscape architect and the 2 interns, so I'll have her take it away.
So if you guys can each introduce yourself and what you do at the university.
My name is Rachel Lloyd, and I'm a senior landscape architect at the Office of the Architect.
I am Laura Whitaker, and I am going into my 3rd year as a graduate student in the landscape architecture program. My background is working in the legal field as a paralegal and being an organic farmer. And so obviously I decided to become a landscape architect. I just love plants, and I love community and the benefits nature provides us. And so I wanted a way to pull on the skills that I had, but be able to create spaces in nature for people to enjoy and heal in.
And I'm Ruth Player. I just finished my 1st year in the Master of Architecture program in the architecture school. I studied civil engineering and art history in undergrad, and I did a civil engineering internship and realized that just wasn't quite the phase of design that I wanted to be working with. I actually wanted to do more of the creative design work. So architecture was the marrying of my 2 majors in undergrad.
Oh, I'll let you take the floor first on just explain your program, what you got the grant for, and what you're trying to do.
We applied for a grant from the Jefferson Trust to start building an internship program. And we applied for funding to carry us through 3 years of internships. So we are looking forward to having 2 student interns full-time during the summer and 2 student interns part-time during the academic year. And interns can help our office accomplish all kinds of work. We love having student perspective, and we also think it's a great opportunity for architecture school students to be involved in design and planning around grounds.
So what does the Office of the Architect actually do for the students?
So we have been engaging Laura and Ruth on a variety of tasks that affect the way our grounds look and feel, and different kinds of programs that are available here. And we want to make sure that they meet all the really world-class architecture teams that are coming on grounds to help us build different kinds of projects, to design and build projects. And so we think it's a great kind of two-way street. Things we get from the students, which are really awesome, and then we hope for them to have a really good experience getting acquainted with the profession and meeting a lot of different design professionals before they head out of architecture school and go off on their own careers.
Yeah, so I feel like UVA is pretty well known for how pretty the architecture is. Why do you think it's important to have architecture that's pretty and accessible and easy to be around in?
I think this particular Emmet-Ivy project, along with the Dell and I think Brandon Avenue, is also managing stormwater. And so it's this really cool way to be able to take a public utility and beautify it and create spaces where now there's like herons and turtles and everything like crawling around these lakes that weren't there before. And from a nerdy, like neurological standpoint, it's important for us to be in nature, especially everyone here is pretty stressed out at some point during the year. And so to have a connection to the natural world and be able to step away from what you're doing and realize you're part of this bigger natural living environment, I think is an important thing for a university to offer, and I think we're doing a good job with it.
Yeah, definitely. I really can appreciate every time I see one of the bunnies running out of the bushes everywhere. That makes me just a little bit better every time.
We wanted to learn more about the projects the student interns were working on this past summer.
I am working on making the paths accessible in Garden 1 for the lower garden and doing some planting bed designs. And I'm going to make some diagrams for pedestrian accessibility and then just going to a bunch of really interesting meetings and understanding how everything works. And then I'll be participating in the Historic Landscape Institute next week, which feels like a really great opportunity to look at gardens and learn more and meet people. And
why do you think like the gardens are important to the UVA atmosphere?
It's this really incredible way of bridging history with modern day life, and it seems to be how everyone gathers, as it should be, on campus. And while you might not necessarily be interested in history, I think the gardens provide a really great opportunity for you to learn about history and experience it, and in a way that's a little more passive.
I have been focusing primarily on the Emmet-Ivy Corridor, looking a lot at the hotel, the Virginia Guest House that's under construction right now. I've been working through the plans and simplifying them so that they can go out to various university bodies for planning so that they don't have all the technical details in as a distraction. And then I also have started a project where they're thinking about how to use the gallery space within the Virginia Guest House as well. So talking to the president's office and a couple of people that work there to think about what's going to go in the gallery space and how best to use what's a very limited space on the ground floor. So yeah, I've been in AutoCAD a lot and doing plans, but having a really great time, and I'm really excited about what the Virginia Guest House can do for the university later.
Yeah, what is the Virginia Guest House?
It is a hotel and conference center in the Emmet-Ivy Corridor, so the corner of Emmett and Ivy Street. And it's 10 stories, I think.
I think so.
I think it's 10 stories. I should know that. But it's part conference center, part hotel, and then the ground floor is very accessible to UVA students. So it's designed to be this kind of nexus between visitors to the university and the UVA community. The conference spaces are supposed to be used by the university and create this kind of like interflow of people and a lot of overlap that can allow for a lot of really exciting things to happen within the hotel. It's also situated in the Emmet-Ivy Corridor, which is also home to the School of Data Science and the second-year housing that they just broke ground on, so it really is intermediary. And it all frames this really nice meandering stream, if y'all want to talk about that as well, that's going to create like a centerpiece of the corridor and almost act as like a more natural, low-lying lawn 2.0 in a way, which is very exciting.
So the Emmet-Ivy Corridor is about 14 acres, so it's not too different in size from the academical village. And as Ruth was saying, there's a designed, restored stream corridor that runs through the middle of it. And it's going to have this really beautiful planting and will enable the stream corridor to rise and fall with rain and storms and flooding. And it culminates in this large pond, which is the sort of centerpiece of a beautiful stone seating amphitheater right near the School of Data Science. So it's very lush. It'll have very lush planting. We're going to build it out this summer and this fall. And it'll probably take a year or two for it to come into its full glory. But we really think it's going to be a gorgeous space on grounds.
It might be too early to ask, so have you guys learned anything from the staff there yet, or is there anything that you want to learn from them?
I came in, just a couple of weeks ago, and my AutoCAD skills were not good, and Rachel has got me up to speed, so thank you.
Sure.
Shout out to that.
Can you explain what AutoCAD is?
AutoCAD is one of the many software programs we use in the architecture school, and it's how you design all the plans in a very precise and measured way. Yeah.
I think for me, the biggest insight has been watching a construction process and seeing the various bodies that have to coordinate. In school, we do a lot of studio projects that are just you design and you talk to your professor, and maybe you'll talk a little bit about the design with your fellow students who are also doing their own design projects, but you're the final say on the studio project, and that's pretty much it. In the real world, there's 11 different firms that are coordinating with plumbing and landscape and civil and the architecture's office and the project manager's office to think about how all of those bodies come together to create a building in the end. It is really quite fascinating to see who has what role and how they all work together and make sure that everything comes to fruition the way that people intended to.
It's really fun. I just wasn't expecting that. It's just it's a good time, and it's casual, and different people in the office will have, I'm going on this project. Do you want to go see this really cool old house that you would never get to see otherwise? Seeing examples of strong women leading with grace, it's been a really great opportunity so far.
Yeah, Laura took the words out of my mouth. I enjoy going to work, which is a great thing to say. Not everyone enjoys going to work. Not everyone loves their summer internship. I feel like the people in the office are wonderful, and they're always willing to answer your questions. I pop into Rachel's office every day to ask her some question about why is this the way that it is, and she always has a very kind, very thought-out answer. And when I have many follow-up questions, she's more than willing to talk me through it. I think we spent about 30 minutes yesterday talking about UVA and the boards that kind of run the show.
Sure.
It's just been a really wonderful experience, and to see so many people working together in a way that makes so much happen across the university. They're the unsung heroes of the school, I think, because they maintain the environment that we are very well known for.
Do you feel like you have a deeper relationship with the university through working at this position?
Oh my gosh, yes. I graduated from the architecture school about 30 years ago, and then I worked as a consultant for UVA for about 25 years, most of my career, but I just joined the Office of the Architect almost 4 years ago. And so as Ruth and Laura have both talked about, one of the things that really struck me when I started working there is how much it's like building a city. You have a lot of people, you have all the components of a city, streets, sidewalks, utilities, housing, a hospital, and just keeping all that together is a lot of work. And so it's very gratifying to be part of it.
Why have you decided to stick with UVA this long?
I love Charlottesville. I love the university. I feel like it's such an honor and a privilege to work here. My career was in historic landscape architecture, and so to be involved at a World Heritage site like UVA is just really incredible.
Why do you think it's the office's responsibility to support architecture students in this specific way?
We're practically neighbors. The architecture school is just a couple hundred feet away from our office, and a lot of us are graduates from the A school and are really devoted to the school and believe in the education that we got and just want to give back, I guess, is part of it. But we really do believe philosophically in all the ideas that we talk about, the importance of design, what it means to this place and building a place and a community at a university. And so I think we're just really all dedicated to that, and that's why we stick with it.
Pilot Project Stories from the Jefferson Trust is a Sign on Grounds podcast. Sign on Grounds and all other projects featured are sponsored by the Jefferson Trust grants. This episode of Sound on Grounds was recorded by Sarah Bastinelli and written and edited by me, Delonda Jello, in the Robertson Media Center. You can learn more about pilot projects on virginiaaudio.com/soundongrounds. The show cover was designed by UVA alum Karina Velacci. All music was composed here in the RMC Audio Studio by Jason Evans Groth. Thank you again to Laura, Ruth, and Rachel. You can learn more about the Office of the Architect at officearchitect.virginia.edu.